every person in INEOS Manchester United power structure and how it will work. Omar Barada will be Man United CEO with an approach made for Dan Ashworth following Jason Wilcox's appointment. Manchester United are pressing ahead with plans to restructure the footballing operations department at Old Trafford following investment from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS Group. His £1.25 billion deal was formalised on Christmas Eve and subsequently ratified by the Premier League in February. Since then, United have started to shake things up behind the scenes. Omar Barada has swapped blue for red and the former Manchester City chief will officially arrive as CEO on July 13. Former Director of Football at Southampton Jason Wilcox has been appointed as Technical Director, and an approach has been made for Newcastle United chief Dan Ashworth. Ashworth is a prime target as Sporting Director and is currently serving a period of gardening leave. The Manchester Evening News understands, as reported in February, that INEOS want Ashworth to head up their footballing department and report to Barada with a team to be assembled around their sporting director. Barada was appointed to replace Richard Arnold as CEO after he stood down when INEOS Group finalized their investment. The new co-owners wanted someone well-versed in football as a business, and that plan led them to Barada, who spent 8 years at Barcelona prior to his time at City. Negotiations between United and Newcastle continue over Ashworth, and he wants to join the club. Compensation for his services is the primary stumbling block, with Ratcliffe branding Newcastle silly, stupid, and absurd for reportedly demanding as much as £20 million for Ashworth. United sources previously declared they would not pay £10 million to recruit Ashworth. The club are prepared to play the waiting game for Ashworth, but are also ready to start work on assembling the team that would work around him. In effect, there would be a straight line running between Barada, Ashworth, and Wilcox in the top positions, with Ashworth heading up the footballing department and Wilcox fulfilling a role beneath him. INEOS could be about to get rid of something Erik Ten Hag said he wanted at Manchester United. Man United are planning to sanction plenty of departures in the summer transfer window, but they must ensure sufficient replacements are sourced. After Marcus Rashford established himself as Manchester United's most reliable source of goals in 2022-23, the club's aim for the 2023 summer transfer window was clear: sign a striker. They did just that, landing Rasmus Højlund from Italian outfit Atalanta for an initial fee of £64 million. The Reds had been unable to rely on a prolific number 9 in Erik Ten Hag's first season in charge, and they felt Højlund was the ideal candidate to join forces with Rashford and spearhead the attack. Despite Rashford's drop-off, Højlund ended his debut season at Old Trafford with 16 goals to his name. While it was by no means a blistering return, it was most certainly respectable, but Rashford's tally of 8 goals in all competitions meant there was an increase in pressure on the Dane to deliver the goods. However, arriving in England as a 20-year-old, United had to manage expectations. Fortunately, United's midfielders stepped up this season, with Bruno Fernandes, Scott McTominay, Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount, Christian Eriksen, Hannibal Mejbri and Casemiro scoring 38 goals between them. Considering Fernandes is the only member of that group who is an out-and-out attacking midfielder, it was an impressive haul from the engine room. Fernandes and McTominay shared the bulk of the load, scoring 25 goals between them, but Mainoo chipped in with 5 and Casemiro also got halfway towards reaching double figures. Eriksen, Mount and Hannibal got 1 apiece. Scoring goals was not something that came easily to United this season. They netted just 57 in the Premier League, marking the lowest tally of anyone who finished inside the top 9. Across all competitions, they scored 88 times in total. Taking that tally of 88 into account, United's midfielders contributed 43.2% of their overall output, highlighting their importance. Fernandes ended the season with 15 and McTominay netted 10. But ahead of this summer's transfer window opening for business, it is no secret that big changes are going to be made to the landscape of United's squad, and their midfield could be one of the most impacted areas. Of United's crop of midfielders, only Mainoo has made their list of untouchables, while there is a strong chance McTominay, Casemiro, Eriksen and Hannibal could all be moved on to raise funds and free up space for new arrivals. United want to sign a central midfielder this summer, with Casemiro a likely candidate to be moved on. The Brazilian has scored 12 goals in his United career, but further reinforcements could be required to improve the midfield department. McTominay is one of the most sellable assets within the squad, and all funds raised from a potential sale would count as pure profit because of his status as an academy graduate. As much as United should strive to do that because of the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, PSR, they are going to have to try and ensure any replacements carry a goal threat. United need to have players all over the pitch who are capable of scoring and can contribute to the team's attacking output, just as Ten Hag demanded in his first season in charge. "We have many goal scorers across the offensive department," he said, speaking in October 2022. "But we also need something from midfield and the defensive department." United ended the 2022-23 season with 34 goals from their midfielders, meaning they saw a slight increase in 2023-24. But there could be a higher turnover in personnel this summer than there was last, with only Marcel Sabitzer and Fred departing from that area of the team. United will hope Manu will build on this season's tally of 5, while they will also be hoping Mount can overcome this season's injury nightmare to offer more of a goal threat. However, as much as United's midfield landscape needs to change, their outgoings will need to be replaced with players who can contribute inside the final third. Although there is no denying the midfield department needs a shake-up, United must consider their options. They can ill afford to leave themselves short on goals from the engine room and pile more pressure on the likes of Højlund and Rashford, Manchester United told Europa League fate as UEFA make threat over Sir Jim Ratcliffe ownership. Manchester United have been told whether they will be allowed to play in the Europa League next season after UEFA came to a decision on their future in the competition. Manchester United has been given the green light to participate in the Europa League, following a decision by UEFA regarding their future in the competition, but the governing body has threatened that they won't be so lenient in future years. Despite finishing 8th in the Premier League, Erik Ten Hag's team clinched the FA Cup, a victory that secured them an automatic spot in Europe's second-tier competition for the upcoming season. However, there were uncertainties about their eligibility to compete in the tournament due to Nice qualification. The French club is also owned by Sir Jim Ratcliffe through his INEOS chemical company, having finished 5th in League One this past season. UEFA regulations stipulate that clubs owned by the same entity cannot compete in the same European competition. Typically, the team that ranks lower in their respective league would be demoted to the Europa Conference League, which in this case would be United. But as reported by The Times, both United and Nice will be permitted to compete in the Europa League next season. UEFA's Club Financial Control Board is set to deliver a verdict on multi-club ownership issues on Monday, reports The Mirror. It is anticipated that the CFCB will approve United's participation alongside Nice, subject to certain conditions. They will also be cautioned that the forthcoming season will be considered transitional, and such leniency will not be extended in future years. The CFCB is also set to rule that Nice should be operated via a blind trust by a panel approved by UEFA. It is a model that was used by AC Milan and Toulouse this season, with both clubs being owned by Redbird Capital. It is reported that a UEFA document on multi-club ownership says a blind trust would be a temporary alternative, granted on an exceptional basis for the 2024-25 UEFA competitions. It also states that UEFA's multi-club ownership rule may be changed for future seasons. INEOS only own 27.7% of United, but Ratcliffe has been handed control of the club's football and business operations by majority owners the Glazer family. The British billionaire previously bought Nice in 2019. Ratcliffe also owns Swiss Super League side Lausanne-Sport, though they have not qualified for a European competition for next year. The ruling around multi-club ownership also affects Manchester City. They qualified for the Champions League after winning the Premier League title this term. But their owners City Football Group are also in control of La Liga side Girona, who will play in Europe's top tier next term. City and Girona will also be allowed to keep their places in the competitions they originally qualified for. The CFCB is said to have scrutinized the CFG links because of the club's transfer dealings this season, though have cleared both teams to play Old Trafford plan and recruitment change, how INEOS have improved Manchester United in 100 days. As we edge closer and closer towards the summer transfer window opening, today marks 100 days since the agreement between Man United and Sir Jim Ratcliffe was officially announced. Today marks exactly 100 days since Manchester United announced that Sir Jim Ratcliffe had secured a 27.7% stake in the club. After a takeover saga that felt as though it was never going to end, the deal between United and Ratcliffe was finalised in February, with the club issuing a statement on their website at 9:15 p.m. on February 20th. The statement revealed that Ratcliffe had acquired 25% of the club's Class B shares and 25% of the club's Class A shares. On becoming United co-owner, Ratcliffe said, "To become co-owner of Manchester United is a great honour and comes with great responsibility. This marks the completion of the transaction, but just the beginning of our journey to take Manchester United back to the top of English, European, and world football, with world-class facilities for our fans. Work to achieve those objectives will accelerate from today." 100 days into his premiership, Ratcliffe is rolling up his sleeves in preparation for a first summer at the club. INEOS have been given control of football operations, meaning they will oversee changes to the squad, as well as deciding on the future of Erik ten Hag. Having reached this particular landmark, Men's Sport has picked out 4 positive changes Ratcliffe and INEOS have set about making since being given the keys to Old Trafford. Making long overdue appointments. Before Ratcliffe and INEOS had even got their feet under the table, it was obvious that one of their first objectives would be to assign the right people to the right roles. United's hierarchy was in desperate need of being equipped with football knowledge and know-how. Before the deal between United and Ratcliffe had even been formally announced, Omar Barada was convinced to swap one side of Manchester for the other. He was installed as the club's new chief executive and will officially begin work at Old Trafford in July. Ratcliffe, who has said every person in management at Old Trafford must be world-class, also drafted in Jason Wilcox from Southampton last month. He has been installed as technical director and will form part of the new football structure. INEOS have also sounded out Dan Ashworth as their preferred candidate to become the club's inaugural sporting director. However, their quest to release him from his Newcastle United contract remains ongoing. Nevertheless, Ratcliffe and his team have made it crystal clear that they want the best in class for each of the hierarchy roles that need filling. United, at long last, are edging closer to having an elite-level football structure in place. Regenerating Old Trafford. However much history and lasting memories are associated with Old Trafford, there is no denying it has become tired and is in desperate need of modernization. Ratcliffe, however, has admitted it is his preference to build a brand new stadium on the existing site. In March, it was announced that Ratcliffe had created a task force to explore options to regenerate Old Trafford. The task force is being chaired by Lord Sebastian Coe and also features former United captain Gary Neville. Ratcliffe has frequently reiterated that a new stadium could become the Wembley of the North. Ratcliffe has also said a new stadium could house up to 100,000 supporters. His ambitions to build a state-of-the-art arena for United cannot be knocked. United's facilities have fallen behind their rivals, and it is clear Ratcliffe believes the club and its supporters deserve better plans for a new training ground. INEOS sporting director Sir Dave Brailsford, as revealed by the Manchester Evening News earlier this month, is pushing for the club to build a brand new training ground. He does not believe the current facilities are fit for purpose for an elite-level sports team. The club is in desperate need of either revamping their current Carrington base or moving to a new site. INEOS believe United should have the best of everything, meaning significant investment is going to be needed in that area. Planning for a different recruitment policy. Ratcliffe, prior to becoming co-owner at Old Trafford, was critical of the club's spending in the transfer market. United have paid over the odds for countless players over the past decade, and that has proven to be the case once again this season with Casemiro's sharp decline. Ratcliffe, in March, signaled his biggest intention yet on how he plans to revamp United's recruitment policy, stating that he wants to source the next big-name star, as opposed to buying a ready-made option for big money. "What I would rather do is find the next Kylian Mbappé, rather than spend a fortune just trying to buy success," Ratcliffe told the Geraint Thomas Cycling Club podcast. "It's not that clever, is it, buying Mbappé, in a way? Anybody could figure that one out. But what's much more challenging is to find the next Mbappé, the next Jude Bellingham, or the next Roy Keane." United's hit rate in the transfer market desperately needs to improve, starting this summer, and Ratcliffe is fully aware of that. He also plans to improve the club's record in the sellers market, which is another department in which United have not been good enough in recent years.